Hello, 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 and welcome to JLMI's Summer of Sugoi. I am Bill, and I am here today with the one and only Cyber Buddy!
Hey, hey, hello, こんにちは。サイバーバリだよ。
Thank you so much for coming in today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm so
absolutely.
excited.
So here at JLMI, what we do is we focus a lot on teaching Japanese language, and we make it practical, we make it fun, it's educational, it's entertainment.
That sounds fun.
It is fun. It is
It's fun.
Mm-hmm. And so, but this is something that I think you are, an absolute expert at. So for those of you,
Yeah. Expert Gennady.
No?
Yeah, expert Gennady.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're doing pretty good.
Thank you.
You're doing pretty good. But for those of people who are watching tonight that maybe don't know a lot about you or your work or your career so far, would you be able to just introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. Well, I don't want to say I teach Japanese, but like I create content that's enjoyable to learn Japanese. So have you heard about my Hiragana Song?
Oh, I have heard the Hiragana Song.
But yeah, I created the Hiragana Song because because it's so hard to learn a language, So, I started to learn Chinese in middle school and it was really, really hard. And I wish they had like a Chinese ABC song, So I want to make it fun, easy for any age.
So like, if you are making it easy for any age, do you think that you're focusing your content, which is mostly online, completely online?
Yes, everything is going to be online. Like I'm pretty, I'm very scripted.
That's totally okay.
I love to edit myself.
I understand the feeling. We are going off the script today. It's going to get wild.
You are seeing me in my raw, natural self.
What I was trying to get at is like, since most of your stuff, you said you wanted to be very, very accessible for like different levels of Japanese learners. Do you think that a lot of people might feel that, oh, this is so easy, it's so cute, it's only for kids?
No, not necessarily. It's not for kids. It's for any age, anywhere in the world. I've had some Japanese teachers actually use my videos in class. So that makes me really happy.
Was that in like a college course or like a side thing or?
I made Hiragana Song and the other videos on my YouTube channel like purely for fun. Right. But I created Cyber Bunny, the character, first, and I wanted to add some kind of value to her. So that's where the Japanese learning started. Because I got the look down, but like, what's the content going to be about?
Yeah, you definitely need that catch when you're going to try to get a following, get an audience, right? Like, okay, she's cute, she's quirky with the ears, she's got the hair, but what is she giving to us?
Yeah, I wanted this character to be kind of like a character that's fighting for justice. And she is on everyone's side. She is like the underdog. She's also misunderstood. But it's kind of like life, You you have to learn. You're learning a lot of things. And in the beginning, you might fail. But just never give up and rise to the top.
I feel a song coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So like, the first goal from the beginning was always to, just dive deep into the kind of like the influencer space, or the goal was just like, oh my gosh, I found these amazing ears and I want to portray a cute character online. Like, how did this start for you? Because now it's turned into something possibly bigger than you might have imagined in the beginning.
Right. I didn't expect to go this far. I just throw out content because I like it and it's my way of expressing through social media. So, yeah, I'm an artist in the beginning and then maybe a content creator second.
Oh, okay. That's right. You went to school for art, didn't you?
Yes.
Where did you go? What did you study?
I went to the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and although it's not an art school, I took an art course and graduated with a BFA. So that's Bachelor's of Fine Arts, specifically fiber.
Fiber?
I know, right?
Okay, are we talking like
right?
Hiragana fiber?
Like recycled things, making 3D art. I made a garment out of glue.
That sounds sticky.
It was. A dancer was wearing the garment, and then he melted off, and it was very beautiful because it shows fiber impermanence, like nothing lasts forever. It's kind of like the expression "ichigo ichie."
So net?
Yes,
Okay.
isn't it beautiful?
That is nice. How long did it take for that actually to melt off the dancer?
Really quick, 15 minutes, he was sweating.
How long did it take you to put this outfit actually together from the beginning?
It was a year-long project, so maybe like a month. I made it in a month.
Oh my gosh.
It was fun.
It shows you just like all that work going into this one super, super important moment. And then if you don't get it on video, if you don't record it, it's like, I took a year off.
Right, yeah.
Earlier you were saying that you didn't actually come up with a traditional Japanese language, education when you were younger. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what was unique about your experience in particular?
Yeah, so I made a video on YouTube about learning a language like a baby.
Okay.
And that's how we learned English, right? From the ABC song. And just feeling the language instead of just learning it from a textbook. So I never learned Japanese from a textbook. My mom just threw me into the fire and said, this is the way of life, learn it as you go.
Okay, so this is when you were growing up in Hawaii, right?
Yes, and then we would visit my grandmother every summer. And for a month long, I would be immersed with Japanese culture.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Very early age.
Because like a lot of kids, they might get that kind of bilingual upbringing at home, but they don't always get that complete immersion that you got during the summertime. That's really nice.
I think the summer is when people grow. Something about the sun.
Something about the sun. I don't know what it could be, but something about the sun.
The energy.
Okay. We both studied art, so we're not going to talk about the sun. That would be a dangerous topic. So like going over to Hawaii and experiencing all that culture, did you ever have that moment of like, I don't want to say reverse culture shock, but kind of like it came on a little bit more strongly because you weren't as used to it growing up in Hawaii compared to Japan?
Yes. It's all thanks to my mother. I talk about her so much, but she really is the reason why I teach what I know. So yeah, she would always communicate to me in Japanese. She would teach me Japanese culture from little bentos to how we carry ourselves.
Okay.
So I think she passed that down to me. And I want to pass that down to you guys.
Yeah, like you're not only teaching language, but I know you also do a lot of videos sharing things like how to act in front of a certain person, the specific phrases that you should use in certain situations. So you're also sharing culture that might not be as widely known as it is here in Japan. What kind of response have you gotten from people when you do the different types of videos between language-focused videos and maybe your quick ideas on culture videos? Is there a difference between those two responses?
Definitely. I think from the comments and the feedback, thank you, by the way, the culture videos really start conversations.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
And that lives in the comments.
Yes, you could scroll down. We got different opinions about certain things, and it really depends on people's backgrounds. Yeah. We have the good comments. We got the really, those kind of comments.
The lively comments.
Yes. And I appreciate those comments because I've never been through what that person has been through. So to hear that, it just kind of puts me in a different perspective. And knowing that, I can create more videos with that in mind.
Yeah, because if you kind of take that input in, then it just lets you know, okay, this was quite successful, so now I know where to go from here, in a kind of sense like that. In that sense, how much do you think people's comments on your past work influence or affect your next project?
So pretty much, how do I plan my content?
Yeah.
I just feel it. There's no formula to it. You just put as much content as you can out there. I know everyone's saying that, but it really practice makes perfect, and consistency, and just knowing your brand and who you are, and never deviate from that.
Even if all of your fans start telling you, I prefer pink hair, or I would prefer the left ear up, the right ear down for the next video, please. Like, you're just always going to stay on your track, deliver what you think is worthwhile.
Because when I started Cyber Bunny, it's not about this, it's the content, it's what I'm preaching. And I purposely made myself a bunny because I wanted to separate myself from being a human.
You're private from your professional.
And just humans in general.
God forbid I show any bit of humanity online.
I wanted to be a bunny.
I see that.
My mom said, okay, as long as you get your college degree, you can be whatever you want.
Okay. So you had this bunny idea even before you moved here to Japan permanently. You had this idea back when you were considering your degree in university.
Yes, I was toying around this cyber theme one Halloween. If you scroll all the way down in my Instagram, there's one picture. And then I was like, I love this look, but what about this look? And then kind of started from there.
Was it one of those traditional costumes where it's like, what are you going to be this year for Halloween? Lingerie and ears. And you're like, I'm a bunny. Was it one of those? Or is it a more tasteful version?
It was more futuristic, fashion-forward type of aesthetic.
Got it.
And then beer.
Beer cans on your head. Yeah.
Ears. Ears from Safeway.
Ears from Safeway. Okay. She's a bunny, but she's a bunny on a budget. Okay. So a lot of your online presence has to do with Japanese education and teaching people Japanese language in a fun and entertaining way. But I'd like to know a little bit more about your experience with Japan, Japanese culture, Japanese language. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
First of all, I'm born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, USA.
Oh, kimono!
And my mother is from Tokyo. So she moved to Hawaii and then had me. Oh, met my dad.
Okay.
Then had me. So that would make me second generation Japanese American, so Nisei. And she would teach me Japanese cultural values. She would talk to me in Japanese. So she raised me, even though we lived in Hawaii for most of my childhood, she raised me with Japanese values.
Do you think that kind of changed your experience growing up for the better? Or was it kind of tough, you think, sometimes, oh, I'm hearing this at home, but I'm hearing this at school? Did you ever run into that?
I think so. I think every child and person has this weird juxtaposition. Like, I'm American, but I also have another identity. And how am I going to mesh the two? And that was a challenge for me growing up, too. Not many people spoke Japanese. So
really?
I had to separate that part of myself.
You mean like just they weren't speaking a lot of Japanese around you in your environment as a child? It was only at home?
Only at home, and maybe my mom's friends' children were the ones that I was able to fully be Japanese with.
So in that sense, you were able to be fully Japanese. Do you feel like when you were at school or in other public places, do you feel like you were hiding your Japaneseness during those times?
Not so much hiding, but there wasn't really a chance to kind of display that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like receive change at the register and do a full-on ojigi. No. So a lot of people with a background similar to your own might go into something very, very language-based, where it's either only education, like traditional style, or it's translation, or maybe even, trading, where you're using language on a daily basis. But you decided to hop into social media. Sorry for the pun. And so, like, how did you hop along that trail into the world of social media and not those other things?
Well, if we're going to go down the rabbit hole, I love social media because it's a it's a way where I can express myself in a very creative way. In the world of social media, you create content and it's subjective. Not everyone's gonna like it, and other people really love it. And you get different kind of feedback and comments, and so I'm used to that. I'm used to the arena of social media, and I think college has really helped me through that.
How do you think that the world of commenting on social media, when people are commenting from behind an avatar, they're commenting from across the world, how do you think that's different from people actually giving you maybe a little bit more constructive feedback in person?
I see a lot of colorful comments on my cultural content. I have my language videos and then my cultural videos where I talk about Japanese values and culture and why things are the way they are. And even though I'm just the messenger, people like to share their story. And sometimes it's not the best story, sometimes it's a great story. And I love hearing it, whether it's, like that. And it's because everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different background. And it gives me a different perspective. And I really appreciate those comments.
So I guess the comment section kind of lights up a little bit more when it comes to something that's more subjective, like culture, compared to the more or less gray or more or less black and white area of language where there are rules. Of course, it's subjective sometimes, but there are rules there. Have you ever had a situation in which you kind of had to step away, you had to block someone, you had to put out a fire? Like, can you talk about any of those more uncomfortable situations you've had to deal with?
Yeah, I think I love pushing people's buttons, and I love getting them out of their comfort zone and start thinking about these things that we don't really think about society. And it gives a really good conversation. That's what art does. And in art class, we've had many discussions or fights about certain subjects, and it just feels home to me. And no, I haven't had to block anyone. I just let them say whatever they want to say on my account, and that's that. That's it, and we just move on.
That's kind of nice, not getting involved and just letting people say what they need to.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people tend to usually turn off the comments for some videos if they think they're going to be a little bit risque, but it hasn't come to that.
I don't feel like I'm being personally attacked. It's usually about the topic, and they have issues or experiences with that specific topic. So I just let people say what they need to say.
Which do you feel in your heart is your mother tongue? Is it the English or is it the Japanese for you? We're getting deep here today, guys.
English.
We're getting deep.
English is my native language.
English is native for you.
Yeah, I could express my thoughts, my opinions more freely in English.
Sure, you have the cultural restrictions as well sometimes, the linguistic nuances. Okay. But when you're teaching, which do you think is better for you in that sense? Do you think you prefer teaching your native tongue, or do you prefer teaching the language that you also enjoyed learning yourself?
I love both, like my children.
Which has been harder for you?
To teach.
To teach.
I think Japanese is harder. So I tend to stick to the basics. A lot of my viewers love the basic videos rather than the more advanced videos. So, and they also come to me for the songs.
Sure, they want to have something fun and catchy, right?
Yeah, they want to know what sticks in their brain. Yeah, they already know what to learn, but they want to know how to learn things. So they come to me
keep
for
it
that.
there. Right. I can imagine a lot of people going to work just like, stop. Like I'm imagining, right?
It sticks. My friends listen to me while they work out.
While they work out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. No offense, I wouldn't put you on my Anytime Fitness playlist. You wouldn't be at the top of my list. But they do, specifically the Hiragana Song.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, that's motivating for getting sweaty. All right, that's interesting.
It's fire. That song's fire.
It is. That's with a question mark. It is! Okay. So speaking of your friends, I would love to know how your friends and family kind of felt when you maybe revealed to them or they found out that you're kind of approaching this social media thing from a full-time standpoint. Did anyone try to talk you out of it?
Oh, no. I knew I wanted to do this from the get-go. This is who I am.
Okay. You've always been a personality.
Yes and no. I'm actually an introvert off camera.
I completely
But
understand.
I'm an extrovert when the bunny comes on.
Do you think the costume helps?
It does. It gives me a lot of confidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on camera, maybe even before the Cyber Bunny thing kind of like became larger in your life? Have you ever been on camera just as yourself and then also had that same confidence, or the confidence wasn't as much as it is now?
I've been on camera before, and I actually like this better. It gives me a different kind of, like, I can do anything kind of vibe.
It kind of takes away the fear of making a mistake and just
Right.
lets you enjoy your experience, right?
Yeah, the bunny is not about perfection. It's about having fun, dressing up, and just, like, let loose.
No, that's one of the main things I like to say in our lessons here at JLMI as well. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. And I think the more mistakes you make, the better you'll remember them, like, moving forward. And it's kind of fun to laugh at each other during class. I really enjoy that.
That's so fun. It has to be memorable.
What's one of the biggest language mistakes you ever made? First, picking up Japanese with your family, or maybe using Japanese outside of your home. Can you remember one of, like, the biggest mishaps you've had?
Okay, so may I use the bathroom?
Absolutely, you can. We'll be taking a break now. No, that's part of the story. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I went to my friend's house and I said, may I use the bathroom? And he was like, okay, so トイレ貸してもいいですか?
Okay. まあまあ、聞いたことあるけどね。
Yeah.
ネイティブの人から。Okay.
And then he was like, いいよ。返してね。
返してね、ちゃんと。
Yeah. トイレを借りてもいいですか? Is the correct one, right?
Yeah. No, but I've heard that, like, I used to live in Osaka for a longer time than Tokyo, and people would always say that, トイレ貸して? And so it's just a casual way of, like, lend me your toilet.
Yeah.
But saying it in English is just wrong. Like, I don't want you to touch my toilet and borrow it like that, no. A lot of people say that about things like kind of the differences between dialects in Japan as well, when it comes to, like, Hyojungo, which is spoken in Tokyo, and then, like, Kansai-ben over in Osaka. And I noticed a big difference when we were talking about fixing something and putting something away. And so I was maybe borrowing something from a friend, and I would say, yeah, 使い終わったから直すね. And me thinking nausu means, like, to put it back, but they were looking at me like, why are you gonna fix it? It's not broken. So that kind of, like, quick dialectical difference is also interesting sometimes. Your mother is originally from Tokyo, so you grew up speaking mostly Hyojungo?
Japanglish?
Japanglish.
Yeah, we talked in Japanglish.
Hit me up with an example. ご飯はそろそろよ。バニちゃん食べに来て。
Spaghetti 食べますか?
Spaghetti 大好き because it's so saucy, like that kind of
Yeah.
a mix kind of thing. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Was that fun for you, or was it confusing as a child?
I think it has become its own language among bilinguals.
Yeah.
It's been a challenge.
It's been a challenge, but it is something that comes naturally now. Yeah.
Yes.
I find myself, when I have conversations with friends back home in America, I sometimes catch myself saying, oh my gosh, that was such a fun time, ne? And then they're just looking at me like, did you forget something? Like, what was that last thing that just popped out of your mouth? And you feel a little bit like that guy, that person who goes to a restaurant and says, I would like the fromage, when you're ordering something. Like, you don't want to be that guy, but it just pops out sometimes. Have you ever had that kind of thing pop up and it was kind of embarrassing, or it's more natural for you and it's not that big of a deal?
The pronunciation of...
Sure, the pronunciation, like the little tags on the end of sentences.
It doesn't bother me. It's kind of like the Chinese Singaporean, like na 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 la. So it doesn't bother me. I think I love these, like, cultural tidbits of that. It makes it so interesting.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of seasoning on top of a boring conversation, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
So one of your biggest videos that kind of hit really nicely on TikTok was this one that talked about people's mistaken pronunciation for car company names in America. Can you just tell us a little bit about that and what inspired you to put that out there?
Sure. Actually, those mispronunciation videos really started my TikTok career.
Those are the ones that pushed you up.
Right. I don't know why. People thought it was interesting. So some examples would be Mazda.
Mazda.
Yeah.
The correct pronunciation being
Matsuda.
Matsuda.
Matsuda. I didn't know that.
No.
They just spelled it like with a Z.
But even for me, when I first got to Japan, I found the tsu pronunciation to be the hardest. Like to get my mind around, I felt like I had to keep stopping in the middle of a word, and I had to really focus on the tsu. Okay. And it really took a lot of effort to get that out there.
How's your small tsu?
My chichai tsu is getting a lot better. My chichai tsu, yeah. I can pause in the middle of my sentences like that now. But that did take some effort as well, yeah.
Nice.
So we have stuff like Mazda. How about something I think is simple like Toyota?
Toyota.
Toyota. Okay, so we can't just do the Toyota.
Yeah, my Russian friend says it like Toyota, like the Japanese.
Perfectly. Okay.
Yeah. Teriyaki.
That's a hard one. I cringe the most when I hear karaoke.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a tough one I always hear. But then again, as I said earlier, I don't want to be the person who's like, oh, I had so much fun tonight after the bar, let's go out to karaoke. Like, you feel like a little bit of a loser and a little bit of a poser. But maybe that's just me not coming from a multicultural background.
I don't know.
You can just say yes, if that's the truth.
Don't be that guy.
Okay, I won't be that guy. Don't be that guy. This idea of people making mistakes and you showing them the correct pronunciation kind of led me to this next question, which was, what are the common mistakes that you find learners of the Japanese language often making?
If I'm making those mistakes, then someone will definitely make those mistakes. So I try to address that, and so we don't make mistakes. Learning Japanese with Romaji.
Okay.
Right.
Romaji is the Roman alphabet, like A through Z, being used to write out the phonetic pronunciation of Japanese words.
Exactly.
Why is that mistaken, in your opinion? Why do you think?
It's not my recommendation to learn that way. You just get stuck in the Western pronunciation.
Okay.
That way.
Even if something is written out like travel, ryoko, even if it's written out like R-Y-O-K-O, you kind of a thing, you think it inhibits their pronunciation?
I would read it with like Ryoko.
Ryoko.
Let's go Ryoko.
Let's go Ryokoing tonight. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, okay. I can see that. So you're saying the Romaji lettering kind of forces this foreignized pronunciation that isn't as natural as it could be.
Right. I think it's better to use hiragana, like master it and be totally comfortable with hiragana, and then you can move on to other things.
Okay.
It's like taking off training wheels.
Yeah, and that's hard to do at first.
It's hard, but I'm with you.
Okay.
Throughout the process.
So, like, tell me about some other mistakes that you've witnessed.
I find this in my Japanese students, but they like to translate literally.
Okay, the classic chokuyaku.
Right, like word for word translation. Like, no, let loose. Think of the whole sentence and its context.
That's true, yeah. Okay, so tell me about the last big mistake that you think all students should try to stay away from when studying the Japanese language.
Learning from anime.
Really?
Yes.
Because that's what we do here at JLMI. Oh my god. on.
Okay, let me explain.
Please explain. You are going to be
Wait.
fired in a second. You got to explain.
I make these videos all the time where we learn certain keywords from anime, and the thing is, not everyone talks like that in the real world.
This is true.
You know, like, I don't say "oagario."
Oh, that's how I
To
wake up every
somebody.
morning.
I don't say this to like a respected person.
Of course not.
Like, please eat. you know?
Okay. So like, it's not so much the words that you're using or the vocabulary that you're using. It's more of the tone and the slang.
Yes, I think anime uses slang, and those are the memorable ones that non-Japanese speakers, or they tend to memorize because it's the most memorable.
Sure. Like the one that goes around on TikTok. It's like "ore saikyo dakara,"
Yeah.
or like "tereru na," that kind of thing.
お前はもう死んでいる.
So.
Like, oh my god, please do not say that to a Japanese
Yeah,
person.
you do not want to tell someone
No.
they are already dead. Like
Yeah.
that's not something
Like,
that goes well.
The
overall.
お前は is just like not
あ、そう。
not appropriate.
なんか I used it quite often living in Osaka for like friends and family and maybe talking down to people in a fun way sometimes, but it's quite rude.
I guess in Tokyo, yes, we are all very polite.
Very polite.
Very standard Japanese.
No one likes to have any fun in the entire
Very
city.
serious.
Very serious. Okay. So I will stay away from the omae wa.
Maybe to your close friends. It's
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, it's fun and playful.
All right.
But I would not say that to my boss.
I will try not to. もう何回も言ったんですいませんでした。はい。So like in our JLMI classes, we sometimes use phrases from anime, and we're kind of using them as like a kikitori lesson where you're listening to what's being said, but then trying to apply it in a practical way. But would you advise against that? Or do you think it's still possible to maybe use it in a certain way? Or are you completely fighting us right now?
No, I'm on your side.
Are you really?
I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
pick and choose the appropriate times to say it.
Absolutely. What anime or what TV show would you recommend for learners who are just getting into the Japanese language? Like, is there anything that's very, very easily approachable for new learners?
Any anime is fine. What I usually do when I'm watching anime is that I listen to it in Japanese and I have the Japanese subtitles so I can read along what they're saying and hear it.
So you have like the not the dubbing, but you have the literal subtitles, but not the translated subtitles.
The Japanese subtitles.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of just ear training and eye training. So it bumps up your reading speed, it bumps up your listening ability.
I think that has helped me a lot.
I like that too because it also shows you how you are supposed to be using kanji in certain situations. Like the one that always kind of tricks me up is the kanjis for iku and miru. So when you combine them, like yatte miru, should I use the kanji or should I use the hiragana for me? Or like yatte iku, like should I use the kanji for iku or use the hiragana for iku? So sometimes seeing it in a subtitle is really nice. In this situation, ari. In this situation, nashi.
Right. It's always on and off.
Yeah. Especially the one that is fun is when you see some words in katakana and you're like, that has a kanji. That has a hiragana. Why are we writing this in katakana? Like, what's the point? And then you realize they're making some sort of emphasis or something.
Exactly. Yes.
So Cyber Bunny, we've had a lot of fun with you today, and we have learned a lot about your career and a lot about the different pitfalls and advantages of studying Japanese language. But you know a lot about everything TikTok, right? You are the TikTok princess in Tokyo. そうだよ.
Yeah.
But since you know so much about that, I would like to give you a little quiz today about TikTok clocks.
Game begin.
All right. やっていきましょうかね. Alright.
ちょっと緊張します。
緊張しないで全然大丈夫だから.
I'm not prepared for this.
Well, that's the whole point. じゃあ, please tell us the name and location of this clock.
This is the Big Ben
Okay.
in London, because I've been there before.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I've seen this in person.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, tell us about your trip to London. Were you traveling for school, just personal vacation? What was it?
This was, I was on a 3-month internship in London where I worked for free, damaging to my wallet. But I learned a lot about social media. I learned a lot about content creating and startups in London.
Fantastic. So here's the second question. Get ready.
I love the pixelation. Does
You're
cannot
welcome.
see the title on the building. I don't know. Singapore? Where?
Hazakashi, come on!
Oh my god, tell me not. Is this in Japan?
It's in
Yokohama?
Japan. It's in Yokohama.
Yokohama.
Oh, Italy.
Wow. I needed that hint.
So this is the Cosmo Clock 21 in Yokohama, Japan.
I've been there.
You have been there?
Yes.
Okay. But it's not the actual world's biggest clock tower, but it is the world's biggest digital face.
Ooh.
Yes, it's very impressive in that way.
Did not know that.
Tell us about your trip to Yokohama. How was that for you?
I want to go again. It was
Really?
It was amazing. It was hirogatta.
Hirogatta kara.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, it gives me Kobe vibes.
I want to go to Kobe.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kobe. Really?
I don't know what it's like to go there.
All right, are you ready for the last one? This
Sure.
is the biggest challenge.
Not in America.
We are not in America.
We are not in Asia.
We're not in Asia.
We are in Europe.
Ping pong.
I don't know, man.
No problem. This last one is the world clock from Berlin, Germany. And it's kind of interesting because it has this interesting drum that spins and it shows you the time zones in all 24 time zones throughout the world. So thank you again to CyberBunny. We super appreciate having you here. And everyone at home, if you are interested in learning with CyberBunny, you can follow her at The Real CyberBunny on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. That's right.
I don't have Twitter.
You don't have Twitter.
I
but
actually don't.
TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
Instagram.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so at The Real CyberBunny. Fabulous. And anyone at home who is interested in learning Japanese with us at JLMI, please hop over to our website. It'll be in the description, or you can follow us on Instagram at JLMI_Tokyo. We also offer courses here at JVTA, which are focused on being a visual media translator, which consists of translating subtitles and working on script translations and live interpretation. So you can get more information on our JVTA website, which will also be in the description down below as well. So, Cyber, thank you so much again. Can I call you Cyber?
You can call me anything you want.
Whew. It's been lovely having you. Thank you so much. And hopefully we will see you all in our next video. So, ja, mata ne. See you next time.